So far we've talked about creating our local Git repository, creating a remote repository, and now we're going to talk about how we manage two people or more than two people who are making changes that are to the same code. That's probably the most valuable feature, other than keeping your code safe, that we find in a version control system, is helping us to navigate through the issues that arise with multiple people working on the same code. So let's look at an example. So let's say I wanted to add a new change to some code that I was working on, and then I'm working with Joe, who is working on the same code, and Joe is also making a change. Well, you can see something is missing here. We both need to make feature branches. And what Linus Torvald says is whoever gets their code pushed to GitHub first wins, and you'll see soon why that is. So if Joe pulls the latest from main and then says he's going to make a new branch on his local repository, and he's doing a whistle feature, so we're going to make a branch called the whistle feature branch, and that is just coming off of main, so it's going to have whatever the code was on main at that time. And then he wants to make some changes, but he's still working. So I asked Joe, hey Joe, are you done with that whistle feature? I just need the latest so I can work on my whistle, the changes I'm making to the bell. And he says, no, I'm not done, actually. So he didn't push anything other than there is a copy of his branch in GitHub, but it has not been merged to main. So he pushed his changes so he wouldn't lose them, but he did not do a pull request. So this is unmerged. Well, I decide, well, in that case, I just need to get main, I guess. So I'm going to pull main as well, because that's the latest good code. And then I'm going to make my bell turn on feature. And so that's just a version of the code that looks similar to when Joe started. So Joe and I are both starting with the same code. However, I'm making some changes and Joe's making some changes, and we're going to see who wins. Whoever merges their code to main first wins the game. And you'll see why soon. So I'm pushing my changes to this remote branch. Joe's pushing his changes to the remote branch. And let's see what this looks like from the command line. So here I am with just my local main branch. So how do I get to where we have this local branch called bell turn on feature and a remote branch called bell turn on feature? Where do I start? Do I start on the remote branch, the remote repository, or the local repository? Usually we start on the local one. We create the branch locally first. So what was the command for that? Git checkout-b means a new branch that doesn't exist yet, and we're going to call it bell turn on feature. Now if I say git branch, I'm on that new branch, which again was just a copy of main. Ooh, do I have the latest on main? I forgot about that. Let me switch back over to main. I'm going to do a pull, and it says I'm already up to date. So I'm going to go back to my bell turn on feature branch. If I say git branch, it shows that I'm on that branch. Okay, so now I'm going to add some code here, and I have turn off the bell, I have sound the bell, but I don't have turn on the bell. So I'm going to say to turn on the bell, npm run turn on bell. Now if I see get status, I've got some changes to make. Well, while I'm working on this, Joe actually does a pull request and he gets it approved. So we go to this pull request and we see, oh, there's an open whistle feature pull request. If I click on the files changed, there is the code he's added to sound the whistle. And it turns out that it got not only approved but merged. So that got merged. And if we go back to the main branch, you will see that we have the sound the whistle change made to the code. Although on my code, I do not have that. So we're kind of in the state we drew here, where Joe made his changes, and now not only did he make his changes on the remote branch, but he also merged them with main. But my code started with main, the same place his code started with main, which means it didn't have the whistle feature in it, and that's why my code doesn't have that. Well, I don't realize Joe's done any of this, and even if I do realize it, I'm going to do the same thing. I need to add my code, so I'm going to add readme.md, or I could have said get add star or get add dot. Now I'm going to commit the code change, so I'm going to say added turn on bell feature, and I'm going to push it, but notice that I haven't pushed this branch before, so I need to say get push-u origin and not main, because I'm pushing to this bell turn on feature branch. So I could copy it if I'm worried about typos, or I can just type it in. I'm going to copy it, push it to there, and now we have this new pull request. So if I go look at the code, though, he's got some changes that I don't have, right? So there's two possibilities. One is that Git automatically resolves the issue. So if we go back to GitHub and we go to the open pull requests, we don't have any. But if I were to say, let's make a pull request, so I see this bell turn on feature branch, let's do a pull request for that. Oh boy, we cannot automatically merge the code. What does that mean? Can't automatically merge the code. That means GitHub can't read the changes we've made and understand them. That's what it means. So Git is not able to take the changes that Joe made here into main and add them to my code changes automatically. Well, I do understand them. I know what he did. So I'm going to go look at it. I'm going to go look at Git and see the changes that were made. And I'm going to see, oh, he added this to sound the whistle. Well, it's on the main branch now. Okay, so all I've got to do now is I need to pull from main, from the remote, to my own local main. Then my main will match the main that's on the remote that has the new whistle feature. So let's do that. So I'm not on that branch yet. So I'm going to switch branches. How do I do that? Git checkout main. So now if I say get branch, it shows me on the main branch. How do I get the latest from the remote? Git pull. So now I have the latest on my own branch. And it looks like the sound the whistle changes here. So now that I've got the latest main, what do I need to do? I need to update my bell turn on feature branch to include those changes. How do I do that? Well, I need to get back on my branch. How do I do that? Get checkout bell turn on feature. And now, if I say get status, I'm going to do a get merge main. Get merge main means pull from my own local main branch any new changes into my bell turn on feature branch. So I'm going to hit that. Oops, automatic merge failed. Again, Git is warning me that it doesn't understand what's happening well enough to guess. So usually the way Git handles this is if two people are changing similar line numbers, then it won't do the change for you automatically. So you'll notice that these changes are close to each other. Turn on bell and sound whistle are lines that are right next to one another. And so Git just says, I don't really know how to handle it. So what I can do, because the turn on the bell feature is my change and the sound the whistle is Joe's change, is I can either accept the current change, which is just mine, and that would delete his code. I can accept only his code, which would delete my code. And again, the assumption Git's making is that because the line numbers are similar, one must be right or the other. Or I can accept both changes, so that gets rid of that assumption. In that case, we keep my current change, we keep Joe's change, and we just click accept both changes. Now you'll notice these symbols. You'll notice these double equals or 5 or 6 equal signs, several less than signs, several greater than signs. These are added intentionally into your code by Git to get your attention so that you know something needs to be fixed. Once you've fixed them, you can either use the GitHub dialog to do it, and I'm just going to click that button, or you can just delete these characters yourself to show Git you've fixed it. So I'm just going to click accept, and notice VS Code did the dirty work for me and it deleted the symbols, but it left the sound the whistle change and it left the turn on the bell change. And the only thing I see that's wrong is I need an extra line here. So it's good that Git brought it to my attention. So I've now fixed as a human what Git could not fix. And now I'm going to say git status. And we see something here. If we look at the output, it says you have unmerged paths. Unmerged paths, both, meaning both people, modified the README MD. And it says use git add and file name to mark resolution. So in Git's mind, there's still a conflict. Yes, I've deleted the characters, but there's another step required. So I say git add readme.md to tell Git that I have resolved the conflict that it found. Now if I say git status, we say all conflicts fixed, but you are still merging. Use git commit to conclude the merge. This is why git status is the best thing to do when you're ever uncertain what step you're on. It will always remind you. So now I need to do what? I need to commit, and it's just like usual. Git commit -m, and I'm going to say merged whistle with bell turn on feature. Enter. And if I say git status, we're good. Now if I go back to GitHub, is it going to have the latest change that I made yet? Nope. What did I forget to do? I have not pushed my code to the bell turn on feature branch, have I? So if I look at it, I don't see the whistle. So let's come back here. If I say git status, I need to do what? Your branch is ahead of origin bell turn on feature by 3 commits. Use git push to publish your local commits. Well, that's pretty easy. Git push. And there we go. So if I go back to GitHub, I'm on the bell turn on feature branch and I refresh, I now have to turn on the bell, to sound the whistle, and they're all there. I did not create the pull request. I never clicked the last button because Git warned me that I couldn't merge it. It couldn't merge it. I can always merge it. it's get that it can't do it by itself. So I clicked, now I'm going to click compare and pull request, and it's changed from unable to merge to able to merge because the latest code on main has now been incorporated into my local branch, which has then been pushed to the remote branch, which means that bell turn on feature is no longer behind the main branch. So now all I need to do is a pull request and it can be merged into the main branch.